Right, so we're finally back in the shop for a change. Today we're working on the magneto off of the Allis Chalmers WD. This is a Fairbanks Morris. I don't know if you can see that in there or not. Magneto. And went to fire the tractor up here the other day and it would not start for anything. It had no spark. So I've kind of narrowed it down to it being a bad coil. If you can kind of look on this one, if I can find it, there are some cracks in the casing here, which usually indicates that it has gotten hot and fried out. And let me see here if I can do this one-handed or not. Basically what has happened is it has shorted the ground inside itself. I may not be able to do this one-handed here. Hang on. Let's see if I can get something going. Yeah, you should not be able to, let's do it this way. This is where I needed that. Not doing it wrong. This little crossbar in here mounts in the case. And so it will be grounded all the time, that crossbar will be. So if I can manage to get that on there and this on here, oops, long enough to where I can, there we go. Now if you look at the meter, there's continuity going through there. And that means that that coil has shorted itself out. If we do this one the same way, this is where the tab will bolt to. There is no continuity. So, got it just right here. So, I'm thinking this coil is grounded out. And we're going to put a new coil in. And I'll kind of show you when I get to that point how to retime the cap and rotor to the magneto and to the tractor. But first, I need to fix some ends on my battery charger. This thing's been around forever, and my gator clips here have come off and been refixed and come off again. So I just got some cheap new clamps on the Jungle website, and I'll work on getting those spliced in. That way I can get the battery on the tractor charging while we're doing this other stuff. So we'll catch up here in a minute. Alright, so I got my battery charger ends fixed and changed. I've kind of got the new coil put in the magneto here. This part is pretty straightforward process. There are 2 screws on top of the magneto here. You back them out a little bit. You don't have to take them all the way out. And then they clamp on top of the coil. You can kind of see where they've been bit in on this one. And then the coil slides out, and there's a little groove that the coil slides out of. And the wire traces around down here to the points. So you take this little screw out, and you have your condenser wire on there. You have your coil wire on there, and you also have a kill wire. This other ground wire is a kill wire. It comes off the points and goes around inside the magneto, and it actually comes out right here on this stud. And this is a little tab. You can ground out the magneto so it quits sparking, and that's how you shut the tractor off. Mine has a wire that leads from this switch or this tab to a switch on the dash, and I can just a little toggle switch, and when I want to kill the tractor I flip that toggle switch and that kills the spark in the magneto. One other thing you need to check and make sure of is that this wire going to that kill switch or the kill tab, none of the insulation's shorted out, melted away, broken off, and that's shorting against the case. That'll keep it from sparking as well. The new coil, you have to put this tab on. It's real simple. just one screw in on the new coil, and you bend that tab up nice, and you want to have it pretty springy, because on the cap you have this post here, and that's what actually sends the power. You push that on there, and that sends the power, your spark, out through your cap and your rotor to your plug wires. The main thing on these is you have to time the magneto to your cap. As you can see, there's a tooth gear here, right there. There is a little dot on mine, kind of hard to see, but right there where my finger is, there's a little dot at that tooth. You want to make sure that dot and that tooth is straight up and down, and then it will mesh in with the slot on the gear over here. Now, there are two marks on this gear. This is a fibrous gear. There is a C for clockwise, and there is A or an A for anti-clockwise. Depending on which direction your motor turns, or if it's the motor itself or if it's the gears on for your magneto. Mine turn clockwise, so I will need to line that little tooth up in that little slot right there with that C when I put this cap and rotor back on the magneto. That's the main part on this side that you got to watch for. And then the tractor side, you have to get it on top dead center on number 1 cylinder, and the flywheel is marked. We'll have to try and see if we can find it on mine. I haven't been out there to look yet, but according to the book, there is a little inspection window on the bell housing where you can kind of see there should be an F marked on the flywheel for fire when you're on top dead center on number 1. And then you want to make sure it's lined up there in the window, because you can get these 180 out. So you don't want to do that. But let me see if I can get this all meshed back together like it needs to be. I do need new gaskets for my cap and rotor, but I don't have them right now. So the main thing is I'm wanting to try and verify is that it will create spark for me. I'm hoping this is all that was wrong. So let me try and get this all meshed back together here. Hang on. Right, so what I ended up finally doing was I took the rotor cap off of the magneto so I could see where the pointer was, or where the contact was. Number 1 on the distributor is right here. It's even labeled with a 1. So you want your contact point to be pointed at number 1 cylinder, and I was able to, with taking that off, I was able to have that lined up with my C groove all the way down in the 6 o'clock position, and I had my dot for my gear on the magneto all the way up in the 12 o'clock position. And then I was able to just slide that on there and got them lined up that way. As you can see, my gaskets for this are tore on this, so I do need to get new gaskets. I just don't have them yet. But this is that rod that goes into that contact point on the coil. So, and then that sends the electricity out to your cap, rotor cap, and then out to your plug wire. So now I'll get this bolted back on, and you should be able to, when you put your cap back on, you should be able to feel the resistance of that tab that you bent out. So I'll get that all put back in place and bolted in, and then the only thing left to do is try and test it, see if it's going to work. Right, I don't know if we'll be able to see it. If I can get it to do it. But I've been getting it to spark good for me. Kind of hurts the hand to turn that. There it went. There's a good one. So I think we're gonna be able to fire this dude up finally. So we'll see if we can't find the timing marks on the tractor. Okay, I don't know if you guys will be able to see a darn thing or not. We are underneath the tractor. There is an inspection hole here. Supposed to be a cover over this. I've got it somewhere. I don't know. I'll have to find it. But anyway, here's your bell housing, oil pan, front of the tractor. Flywheel is up in here. And there is a line. There's a little timing tab right here on the casing. I don't know if you can see that little pointer right there. And then up on the flywheel in there, I can't tell if you guys can see that or not, there is a line on the flywheel for top dead center. A lot of tractors will have an F or fire. Mine apparently just has a line on the flywheel. I don't know if this is the original motor in this tractor or not. But anyhow, that tells us that we are timed on number 1 cylinder to fire. So we'll work on getting the magneto bolted back in place. But first I gotta get my fat butt up off the ground. So hang on. Alright, sorry about that. My camera lens was dirty. Alright, I have my magneto. It is set to fire on number 1. And it's got, on the back side here, you can see the tabs line go crossways horizontal. The tractor is set at top dead number 1 to fire. And it is set crossways horizontal. So all we need to do now is set this magneto up in the hole, put the 2 bolts in to hold it on. I marked, there was a little timing mark here because you can move that just a little bit. I marked where it was before I took it off. So I will put it back where it was, and then we should be able to put the plugs in it, wires on it, and hopefully this old girl will fire up again. I don't have room. I'm in the lean-to here. I'm up against the wall. I have absolutely no room to hardly work, so I'm going to shut you guys off for a minute, get this bolted up, and then I'll bring you back when it's time to try and fire it up. Okay, magneto's back on. Plugs are in, plug wires are on. I left my kill switch off for now. I can just use that tab. We'll see if this old girl will fire up for us. Oh, look at there. Got her timed right. Try her again. Awesome. Well, I'll get my kill wire put back on and all that good stuff, and I can hopefully run her again. I need to get some brush hogging done. I was kind of wanting to get the blade put on the back, maybe do some plowing. I don't know. I just want to mess with the old girl. She don't get used enough. So alright, I guess that's going to be it for now, guys. Thanks.